Hi everybody, this is Isha Snehal and you're watching Snehology 101, and today I'm going to talk about CV and applications. So ERAS application is coming up and I know a lot of you are really anxious as to how to fill in the application, what is the format of it, where to fill what, and I was really nervous too. So I want to share some of my experiences with you guys. I'm going to describe to you the components that are there in the ERAS and what is the best way to go about it. Let's start. So the first is the mailing address, where you put in the mailing address for the place you're most likely to receive mails. Then number 2 is where you received your medical education. That's a no-brainer. Just put in the dates and the college you received education from. Then there is education, wherein for international medical graduates there is no entry, but for US medical graduates you can actually select one of the options that is pertaining to you. Then there is memberships of professional societies. Well, here is a little bit of a confusion because some of the international medical graduates have memberships in different professional societies compared to the US medical graduates who have memberships in Alpha Omega societies and these top institutes. And there is always a question whether you should get a membership of these societies, whether you should join AMA just before you are applying, whether you should join an AAN, which is American Academy of Neurology, or American Academy of Internal Medicine, or American College of Physicians. But really there is no need, because if you're going to join now, you have to also put in the dates of your membership, which is weird because if you just joined in say like September before applying in October, that doesn't make sense, right? So if you've been a long-term member of any of these societies, just fill it in. If you were a member of IMA like Indian Medical Association, or DMA like Delhi Medical Association, or any other professional society, just fill it in there, and it's of not a big consequence to your CV. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Next column or heading is about medical or professional awards, where you're going to put in all the details about distinctions, gold medals, honors, grants, research, extraordinary research work, any award that you received, something extraordinary out of your medical school, just put it in there and put in the dates. You're set. Then you have a heading about volunteer experiences, where you're going to talk about all the volunteer experiences you've done during your medical school. For example, I did a volunteer experience of doing poetry for a cause, and I really put that in there, and I was actually asked about it in one of the interviews. So really, regardless of where you volunteered, you should just put in your experience and talk about it. Always use third-person narrative. Say what you achieved out of that, what were the goals, and that's about it. Charity events, hospitals, whether it was a marathon, like you would have heard about Pinkathons, which is for breast cancer events. If you volunteered as an ambassador, or something out of the ordinary, you should put it in the volunteer experiences. So next comes the work experience tab. It is an important tab where you're going to talk about all your electives, your observerships, your intern year. You should also separately talk about those rotations that were different and were out of the ordinary. For example, there are certain rotations where you work outside your hospital, whether it's an away rotation, whether it was a village rotation, or a district hospital rotation, and was not in your native hospital. You should separately talk about it, because I'm sure that would have given you a different training experience, and it just adds value to you as a resident. Here's a helpful tip. When you're going to talk about every experience, say what was the length of the experience, how many average hours you worked every day or every week. Then talk about what are the specific skill sets you've learned through that experience. What did you do on a day-to-day basis, and what are some extraordinary highlights that you had during that rotation, because it just enhances your work experience and your training value to anybody who's reading your CV. For a quick example, like For my intern experience, I talked about what are the procedures that I've become better at and I'm skilled at, what I can, for example, even IV cannulation or catheter insertion or any operations that I did on my own or I assisted in, or medical management that I did and I became skilled at by the end of my intern year. I put all of that in there. For elective work experiences, talk about the different RAN rounds you've attended, what are the unique cases that you saw during your rotation, and how skilled you've become through that elective or observation. The next tab is current training. So have you received ACLS or BLS training? These are all training certifications that people receive and sometimes don't receive before applying. So if you already received those certifications, then great, and if it's valid during the time you are filling out your application, then great. But if you've not and you still have some time, then it's a good idea to receive them. Next comes the research experience. Here you should talk about all the long-term research works that you've done or invested your time in, any cross-sectional studies, whether it was a 2-month or a 2-year study, or any research elective that you've taken. You should talk about all of those things and be very specific at what it was, what kind of study was it, what kind of goals it had, and what were you able to achieve out of that research experience. And finally, the outcome of it, whether you were able to publish a paper or present anything in any of the conferences. And the next tab, which is one of the most confusing tabs according to me, is publications tab. It has like 5 options in there, and literally you can fill anything and anything, because most of the times I was really confused, but I figured it out. So the first option is peer-reviewed journal articles. You should know whether your article is in a peer-reviewed journal or not. You will always find that in the front section of the journal, on the introduction page in a website. It will talk about whether that journal is peer-reviewed or not. So there is a peer-reviewed journal article, there's a non-peer-reviewed journal article, there is a section for oral presentations, and even if you have presented the same paper that you've published, you should still fill that in the section of oral presentations. It will be a repeat, but if you've presented your paper, it's always a plus point. Then you should talk about other articles that are published in newspapers or in a blog or anywhere else. Something interesting that you've published which can catch an eye of the reader. Write it in there, and it's definitely not wrong to put in an abstract if you have a published abstract. So try to fill in most of the sections. There is a definitive pattern which is in the ERAS software, so filling it in is not a problem ever. And if you just submitted an article and it's not published, you can still fill it in, because there's an option called peer-reviewed other than published, and that's where you put in the articles you just submitted. So you can actually submit things before the application date and still have a bigger publication list. And my favorite, other hobbies and interests. So here is where you talk about things that you are really good at, whether it's singing, dancing, poetry. Don't have random interests that you don't even know about, because really your residents who are going to be there at the pre-interview dinner are going to ask you what are your hobbies, and they should technically match what you wrote in the CV, and technically you should be good at those things. So if you've mentioned poetry, make sure that you actually remember your poems, and really you have done something in poetry. If you mention singing, make sure that you know a song when they ask you to sing. Well, people mostly don't ask you to sing, but if they do, you should be ready. They can ask you to sing in the interviews though. second last one is language and fluency. It's good to know many languages, but nobody will kill you if you just know one language or two languages. And the last tab is other awards and accomplishment. If you had any extraordinary achievements in school or college or anywhere which you want to talk about, here is where you put that in, and be generous to yourself and write every great accomplishment you've ever had out of it. So that was all the gyan that I had for you guys for this video. If you have any questions, please reach out to me through YouTube comment section or Instagram. My ID is isha.snehal. I will put it in the link in the description below, so don't worry. And all the very best for whatever exams that are coming your way, or any trouble that's coming your way, or no trouble that's coming your way, or just existing. So I'm gonna take off. Bye, take care, good luck, have a great